Aboriginals.
We're in talk mode. Welcome back again. I need to stop saying that. But we're back with another book review. This time we're reviewing Slow Horses by Mick Herron. You may have heard of this name. It's actually now a TV show on Apple TV Plus, starring Gary Oldman as one of the main characters. But I've not watched the show. I've only read the book, and it's a pretty good one. So let's get into it. This book is weighing in at 328 pages long. Was first published in 2010. Gonna read you a little bit of the blurb and then we'll get into it. So spooks are supposed to be stealthy, but those who make a noisy mess of their careers end up at Slough House. This is Jackson Lamb's kingdom, a dumping ground for spies who've screwed up. Once high flyers, they're now slow horses, condemned to a life of pushing paper as punishment for crimes of drugs and drunkenness, lechery and failure, politics and betrayal. In drab and mildewed offices, these highly trained spies moan and squabble, stare at the walls, and dream of better days. Not one of them joined the intelligence service to be a slow horse, and the one thing they have in common is their desire to be back in the action. So when a young man is kidnapped and held hostage, his beheading scheduled for a live broadcast on the net, the slow horses aren't going to just sit quietly and watch. And unless they can prove they're not as useless as they're thought to be, a public execution is going to echo around the world. So, really good book. It is based in the UK, which is a little bit different for me. A lot of the books I read or have read are based in the US. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, they are. And especially these thrillers and spy novels and or action sort of novels, the ones that I read anyway, which involve politics and all that, is normally based in politics in the White House and that sort of thing. You're talking about CIA and whatever, FBI, etc. So it was nice for me. I think it's one of the few books I've read that's actually based around the UK intelligence services, and seeing as I'm based in the UK, um, it's not relatable. Geez, I'm not a spook, but it's I don't know. It's the language used and the locations and stuff, and I can imagine it a lot better because I've been to some of these places and stuff like that. Like, is quite interesting for me. However, that's not very useful for you because it doesn't actually make a difference to how you or whether you may want to read this book, unless you're based in the UK. Maybe you would. But let's talking a little bit about the book. It's it's very well paced. It's reading this book. I was quite hooked in the sense that I wanted it was a page turn. I was trying to get to the next part of the story and figure out what the hell's going on and who is the bad guy and what's gonna happen next and that sort of thing. So it was actually quite interesting. I do like these sort of political webs and stuff that people are like trying to navigate through in some of these stories, and this was one of them. There is a whole series of this book, so this is not a one-off like some of the other ones I've read. This is actually part of a series. I think they've even started adapting the second book or something for the Apple TV show. Um, but yeah, I mean, theming is, stuff I mentioned, action, suspense, politics. Yeah, is I really enjoyed it, and the twist, like it's not. I'm trying not to spoil it, but what you read and where you think the story is going doesn't necessarily go that way. So yeah, I think is quite a good book. I really wish I could say a lot more, but I can't do that without spoiling the story, and that kind of not the purpose of these. Or maybe I should start doing spoiler reviews. But for now, yeah, I think this is a good book. I think it's a great book actually because I am scoring this a 5 out of 5, and it's having a permanent spot on the bookshelf and in my library. So I would definitely recommend this book if you're into this kind of thing. In this kind of thing, if you're into this kind of genre, um, definitely give it a go. I think it takes a few minutes to get into it. When I say a few minutes, like you get through a couple of chapters to get hooked. But once you are, and you kind of want to see the story through. I will be hunting for the rest of these books by Mick Herron in this series to find out how the story goes. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, if you want to contact me with any comments, concerns, suggestions, anything I can do differently or do better, then please contact me at Wahab Originals on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you once again for joining me today. Take care. Goodbye.